Back in the day, crypto was laughed at. Bitcoin was called a scam. Ethereum was dismissed as a science project, and the idea of Wall Street ever embracing it seemed impossible. Then came the first Bitcoin ETFs. Billions of dollars poured in almost overnight, and the narrative flipped on its head. Suddenly, Bitcoin wasn't just digital gold for the internet crowd. It was a regulated product sitting right there next to Apple and Microsoft in brokerage accounts. Then Ethereum ETFs landed. The reaction wasn't as explosive, but it was just as important. It showed the world that ETFs weren't a one-off experiment. They were the beginning of a new era where crypto assets sit alongside stocks and bonds in mainstream portfolios. And now the whispers are getting louder. Solana, XRP, maybe even Dogecoin ETFs. The third wave is coming, and this one could take crypto from niche adoption to fully mainstream. The question is, who's going to get there first, and how big could it get? Let's rewind to the start of this story with Bitcoin, because that's where the ETF saga began. For years, Bitcoin advocates begged for legitimacy. They argued it was the digital equivalent of gold, a store of value immune to government printing presses, and the perfect hedge against inflation. But without mainstream access, without an ETF, it was still considered fringe. That all changed when regulators finally approved the first spot Bitcoin ETFs. The impact was instant. Within days, billions of dollars flowed in. Pension funds, retirement accounts, hedge funds, the kind of money that had been locked out of Bitcoin suddenly had a bridge. And with halving cycles reducing supply, demand began to overwhelm the market. Bitcoin didn't just grind higher, it surged. 70,000 became 80, 80 became 90, and before long, Bitcoin had pushed past $100,000. For longtime holders, it was vindication. For skeptics, it was a wake-up call. And for the crypto family, it was a moment in history. Now, the Ethereum ETFs were a little different. When they landed, the market didn't explode in the same way. And that's worth understanding. Ethereum has always been more complex. It's not just digital gold. It's the decentralized world computer. It powers DeFi, NFTs, and entire ecosystems of tokens. To an institutional investor, that narrative is harder to explain than Bitcoin's simple store of value. But still, the ETF approval mattered. It proved Bitcoin's success wasn't a fluke. It proved regulators were willing to expand the sandbox. And it gave Ethereum the legitimacy it had been fighting for since its launch. Now here's where things get exciting, because the door is open and the speculation is about who walks through next. Solana is the name you hear again and again. Why? Because Solana has quietly become one of the strongest competitors to Ethereum. It's fast, it's cheap, and it's got an active developer base building everything from DeFi platforms to NFT marketplaces. Institutions are taking notice, and traders, they're already betting on it. Just the rumor of a Solana ETF has pushed the price up to $220, its highest level in 7 months. Think about that. No filing yet, no approval yet, just whispers. And that's enough to move billions in market cap. Now imagine what happens if the approval actually comes through. A Solana ETF could legitimize the coin in the same way Bitcoin's did. And if that happens, $400, $500, even $600 suddenly looks possible. Then there's XRP. The XRP army has been fighting for years, through lawsuits, through delistings, through endless FUD. And now, XRP is back above $3. The big question is whether it could get its own ETF. Now this one is complicated. Regulators have always viewed XRP differently because of its ties to Ripple and the banking system. But think about the signal it would send if XRP got the nod. It wouldn't just be another coin getting an ETF. It would be a declaration that payment-focused crypto, the kind that moves money across borders, the kind that partners with banks like BBVA, has a legitimate role in the financial future. And let's put some math around it. If XRP sits at $3 today, and an ETF pushes it to $10, that's a 3x. 10,000 XRP suddenly becomes 100 grand. Push it to $20, that's 200 grand. For retail holders, that's not just a win, that's life-changing. That's college tuition, that's a house deposit, that's early retirement. And that's why the XRP army is so relentless. They can see what this ETF wave could mean. And then we've got Dogecoin, the meme coin that refuses to die. Could Dogecoin get an ETF? On paper, it sounds ridiculous. It started as a joke, it's inflationary, it has no fixed supply. But here's the thing. Dogecoin has brand power. It has Elon Musk's backing. And while X Payments hasn't integrated crypto yet, Musk has teased Dogecoin for years, and the community believes it's only a matter of time. And most importantly, it has a community that refuses to let it fade away. In a world where Wall Street packages products based on demand, don't rule it out. A Dogecoin ETF would capture the people's coin narrative, and retail would eat it up. Even a move back to $1 would mint a new wave of millionaires out of Doge faithful who've been stacking quietly in the background. So why do ETFs matter this much? Because they're not just products. They're gateways. They open the door to trillions of dollars locked in retirement accounts, pensions, and conservative funds that would never touch an exchange. They provide legitimacy, telling the world these assets are regulated, safe enough, and worth consideration. And they bring liquidity. Liquidity that reduces volatility, at least in theory, and makes it easier for institutions to build positions. But let's not get carried away without noting the risks. Just because an ETF is approved doesn't mean the price explodes. We saw that with Ethereum. Timing matters. Narratives matter. If ETF approvals happen in a bearish macro environment, the effect could be muted. But if they happen during a liquidity boom, when capital is flowing and sentiment is strong, the upside could be exponential. That's why analysts are split. Some believe Solana or XRP ETFs would ignite the next bull run. Others warn the hype may be greater than the actual impact. So let's play out some scenarios. Imagine Bitcoin ETFs continue to attract billions. Bitcoin climbs not just to 115,000, but to 200,000 in the next cycle. That's nearly a 2-buy from here. For long-term holders, that's portfolio defining. Now layer in a Solana ETF. If Solana doubles from 220 to 400 or 500, that's a fortune for early adopters. Add XRP at $10, and suddenly a 20,000 XRP bag is worth $200,000. Push it to $20, and we're talking 400,000. That's the kind of math that changes lives. And if Dogecoin made its way to $1 with an ETF behind it, that's the kind of headline that captures global attention and brings a whole new wave of retail into the market. So crypto family, here's the takeaway. The next wave of ETFs could reshape the market just like the first one did. It could bring trillions in new capital, unlock mainstream adoption, and create opportunities that don't just make traders rich, they change lives. But here's the catch. You have to be ready before the approvals. By the time Wall Street is telling you to buy, the early gains are gone. This is the story of the ETF wave. The first wave legitimized Bitcoin, the second wave gave Ethereum its seat at the table, and the third wave? That could be the one that takes crypto fully mainstream. The question is, which community will get its turn? Will it be the Solana builders, the XRP army, the Doge faithful, or will regulators slow walk it into the future? Whatever happens, one thing is certain. Crypto is no longer on the outside looking in. We are inside the system now. The ETF wave has made sure of that. And the next approvals, whenever they come, could be the biggest bridge yet between Wall Street and Main Street. So let me ask you, are you ready to ride it? Smash that like, hit follow, and tell me in the comments which ETF you want to see next. Bitcoin holders, Ethereum believers, Solana loyalists, XRP army, Doge faithful. This is your moment. Stay sharp, stay focused, and as always, we will see you at the top.